Damn, Drew, you got another one.
This is the flip side
Oh, I
to
already know what you're about to say.
yeah. The flip side to cutting celebrities that I heard about it before I got into cutting celebrities and stuff, and I didn't really it didn't really matter to me too much because I said to myself, I want to get my own experience.
Mhm.
When it comes to celebrities,
Damn, Drew, you got another one.
Welcome to That's a Bet podcast, where we talk about the intersection of barbering, entrepreneurship, and technology. Today's special guest is a barber out of West Hollywood, California. He's known for cutting faster than majority of barbers and having a celebrity clientele. He's also in the process of creating a program to teach barbers how they can reduce the time on their haircuts without compromising the quality of their haircut. I think you guys are in for a special treat. So without any further ado, let's welcome CleantCutz. How's it going, man? How are you today?
man, I'm doing wonderful, brother. I'm doing
Doing
wonderful.
That's good, man. I'm glad that you had the time to be able to join us today out there in Hollywood. How long have you been out there in Hollywood?
About roughly about like 4 years now. I
Okay.
came, yeah, a little bit right before the pandemic.
Right before the now how was the pandemic for you? I know a lot of barbers, we were not allowed to work during the pandemic. How did you handle the pandemic?
Well, the truth of the matter is like, majority of us was not allowed to work, but we still had to do some of us still had to do what we had to do. You know what I'm saying? That's
Right,
just like
right.
so in the early stages, I did take some time off from work,
Uh-huh.
saying, but couldn't stay down for too long,
Same, same,
So
same.
so
So,
I started doing okay, so the way it happened for me is when the pandemic hit, I was in New York.
okay.
Where I spent most of my time, I would say roughly about 25 years. After coming from the islands, St. Lucia, where I'm originally from.
Okay.
So I was in New York, and my wife was in California at the time. So right before the pandemic hit, I came out to California, and that's where I kind of got, caught up with the pandemic while I was in California.
Now how long were you in California before the pandemic actually hit?
Probably about like 3 months.
Okay, I have a similar story. I came to Atlanta from Ohio, and about 5 months after I got here, the pandemic hit. So
Mm.
it was crazy situation. Now, how long did you actually say, okay, you know, I see that they telling us not to work, but I need to go ahead and get back to the bag. How long did you wait?
I would say probably about 2 months.
2 months? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
probably about 2 months. Yeah.
Now I remember around that time, barbers were getting a lot of hate. Do you remember a lot of the hate that barbers were getting on social media when they decided to go ahead and do what they wanted to do?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. We were getting a lot of hate.
Yeah, that was crazy. So you said that you um one of your biggest strengths is being able to cut hair faster than majority of the barbers. How did you get to the point to where you were able to cut hair so fast?
Okay, so when I first started off cutting in New York, I started off when I was like I would say roughly about like probably like 19,
Mhm.
19, 20, right? Um, I knew how to cut already back home in St. Lucia, but I wasn't cutting on a professional level.
Okay.
So when I came to New York, the barbershop that I started at was at a very busy location. We had like mad traffic always coming in, a lot of walk-ins. And I was just not putting out, cuts in a timely manner. Like my cuts was just taking, about an hour and change. And the
Uh-huh.
guys at the shop at the time, they were already, pretty well established. And everybody was just kind of going through cuts. And what I noticed where I was having most of my um when it comes to like my time was really with my fades, right?
Uh-huh.
And I started off just like every barber, doing fades using guidelines. And when I noticed using guidelines, removing that guideline was one of the main things that would really slow me down in my cuts.
Took a lot of time.
Added to, yeah. So that's when the thought just came to me, and I was like, what if I could switch that around
Mm-hmm.
and start my cuts, start fading up and gradually blending down and worrying about the guideline, as the last. When I got to
Mm.
that point, I noticed that there was no need for guidelines.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was a game changer because, you know, um, realistically, when you look at, barbering, majority of, almost every barber all over the world, that's how we all taught how to cut.
Right. Put the guideline in there
Using
and then
guidelines,
level
right?
up. Yeah.
Right, and level up. But when you really look at it, guidelines are really there for only two reasons.
Mm-hmm.
It's to help you understand where your fate starts and where it ends,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you're already somewhat experienced, you already have every barber that's pretty much, have some type of experience. I'd say even, you cut in for probably about 3 months in, you already have a good idea of where your fate starts and where it ends. So
Mm-hmm.
there's really no need for guidelines, right? So when I look at fading, guidelines is really the beginning stages of learning how to cut, right?
Mm.
But we are not being taught that. You know what I'm saying? No one is
Mm.
talking about this, no one is really explaining it. You know what I'm saying? The real reason for guidelines, and everyone sees it on social media, so everybody's just doing the same thing. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Once you understand the concept, when you put it into practice, you get to realize that you've been wasting a lot of time
Wow.
from down going up. You know what I'm saying? It's
Mm-hmm.
really, it's really, I'll put it this way. Let me use this analogy, to kind of break it down a little bit more.
Uh-huh.
We first learned to ride a bike, right? We
Right.
first start off with training wheels, right?
Right.
And when our balance, we remove those training wheels because we kind of, getting our balance. We kind of
R-
getting the concept of what it is to,
Right.
be
Right.
on.
Right. Right. Right.
So there's no need for the training wheels anymore. So guidelines, I look at it as, same similar
The training
concept. You know what
wheels.
I'm saying? It's like training wheels. You know what I'm saying? Once you understand where your faith starts, there's no need for guidelines anymore. It's actually more of a hindrance than a help,
Mm.
because you're not able to there's certain things when it comes to fading, for instance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Sometimes when you're doing a fade, if you put that guideline in, right, everybody head is shaped, a little different and stuff like that, as far as like where the fade is supposed to,
Right. Right.
pretty much
Right.
stuff like. So sometimes you find yourself, you might put that fade up a little too high, and
To
then when
yeah.
and now you trying to, there's no room to really stretch the fade out, and that's why certain fades don't come out as clean, because it's kind of it's too compressed, right?
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, right, the ultimate fade when it comes to, the best quality of a fade is a stretch fade where you can't really see where that fade starts and where it ends. That's that type of blurry blend that you need. But if you already put that guideline in, there's no room to stretch the fade. So now it comes out compressed, and that's why certain times, you see dudes walking around, you know what I'm saying, with the fades might compress, because the barber, there's no space to stretch that fade out.
So let me ask you a question with that, what
Sure.
you just said. So I know in Atlanta and California and New York is different styles. Have you ever heard of the term quick fade? Is that something that you've
Fade.
heard of? Yeah.
I never really heard of the term like quick fade. People would say, we
Right.
do it or whatever, but I
So
never.
you mentioned how you need that you had that compressed space, and then you could stretch it out.
Right.
A lot of one of the new things that I've seen that have come out with the younger barbers is they like to do a quick fade to where it almost look like a soup bowl, but it's still a fade, and
Yeah.
they had that fade in that compressed area right there.
Right. Right.
Do you ever do any of those type of cuts
No,
or
I don't do
fades?
I don't do those fades. I
Oh,
don't, to me, for me, that's not even really like, a fade. That's not really a definition of a fade. You know what I'm saying?
right,
A fade is
right.
really something that's supposed to be blend out.
Right, right.
Blurry. So if you're doing that, compress, it's not, it's not the fade is not completed. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Now
So
I'm with you. I'm
I know
with you.
exactly what you're talking
It's a
about.
new it's a newer thing.
Yeah. Mm.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
For me, I don't really rate that type of fade. You know what I'm saying?
oh,
I mean, if it's becoming like a style or something, and some people, may ask for it, but if
mhm.
it's something that, barbers are just doing, as far as like, and just, to call it like, okay, this is my fade, I don't, yeah, I don't think that's, that's how,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? That's not how it's supposed to be, but, styles
Right.
come out, you know what I'm saying? And it could probably eventually end up as a
A
style, but, you
style, yeah.
know what I'm
I
saying?
know now being in Atlanta, I know sometimes, I might get a young client here and there and they want that quick fade. And so I kind of had to learn how to do it. When I used to own a barber shop and some of my younger barbers in there, they was doing that quick fade. And so I'm seeing that in Atlanta is kind of becoming a trend. And
Mm.
I'm like, oh man, I gotta learn how to do this. So do you find that a lot of the younger barbers like keep you on your toes a little bit sometimes?
When you say keep me on my toes, as far as like what?
Just
As
like
far as
with
like,
just like with trends or something that might be coming out, or because how long have you been in the industry now?
professionally, about 25 years.
Also, yeah, you in there longer than me. So, you know, barbers, the younger barbers like to stay up to date with the latest tools, the latest trends. Do
Yeah.
you ever feel like pressure to try to keep up with any of the younger barbers?
No, not at all, to be honest. I go with what pretty much works for
Mm-hmm.
me. Um, it's definitely important to stay on top of like trends though, because that's one thing. A lot of our, older barbers and stuff like that, we sometimes get stuck in the old ways of
Yeah.
doing, and we get stuck in there so long that, trends come and then we end up, kind of not being able to adjust because, what I'm saying, we're stuck in our ways.
Right.
So
Right.
definitely have to somewhat be on top of, certain trends, but I'm not one to just jump on every single thing that
Right.
comes out.
Right. Right.
If
Right.
it makes sense, yes, I'm gonna jump on it. You
I
know what I'm
got
saying?
you. I
For
got you. I
instance,
got you.
for instance, like when the airbrush first came out, you know what I'm saying? That was
Mm-hmm.
one of the things
Mm-hmm.
that in New York, where I started off in Brooklyn, it's something that we didn't like, clients and stuff wasn't really for that. Like, it was a very hard thing to kind of transition, the clients into wanting to do, you
The
know what I'm saying?
airbrush. Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
airbrush. And I noticed with I think places like Atlanta and stuff, it was already
It's a big
pretty much
thing.
a big thing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everybody was walking around,
With the
with
painted hairline and
yeah,
everything.
yeah. So um it took me a little while to kind of, jump on that. But, certain barbers would be like, no, I don't do that. I don't, you know what I'm saying? But it's all about what the clients want. If
With the
they want
client.
it, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You gotta do,
So
what
what the
clients ask.
client wants. So speaking of clients, how
Yeah.
did you get to the point to where you cut so many celebrity clients? Man, I was looking on your Instagram page and it seemed like you like to barber to the stars, man. Like how did you get to that point to where you cut so many celebrities?
Oh man, that's such a good question, bro. So I would say the first thing is manifesting. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
that's the first step. I always, I think almost every barber somewhat would like to get to that level where they could cut, celebrities and stuff. Just because for me, I know what it does for, just the industry, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Period. If you cut celebrities, you know, people look at you like, okay, you the person to go to. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right, right,
So
right.
we somewhat value celebrities' opinions when it comes to certain things. And that's just how it is. If a celebrity eats a certain place, we'd be like, oh, that's the
That's
best
the place
restaurant.
to go to. That's the place to
You know
go
what I'm saying?
to.
So
Right.
that's really what it is, um, you know, or what it was for me, right? So the second thing I would say is position. Um,
What do you
now,
mean by position?
yeah. So what I mean by position is you definitely have to position yourself Um, in certain areas, it might have to boil down to you switching your where it is that you actually work. Because
Mm,
when I was in New York for 25 years, I never cut not one celebrity. You
mm-hmm.
know, I moved to California, and within, I would say, probably about less than a year of working here, I cut my first celebrity. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
wow.
All because of me transitioning from New York to California, and especially not anywhere in California, but being in West Hollywood.
Hollywood. Yeah.
So positioning is very, very important. You know what I'm saying? Very, very important. So yeah, I'd say it's a combination of those two things, just putting the thought out there from a very long time and making that transition.
That's
That's how that.
good. That's real good. Hopefully some barbers that's listening to this can keep that in mind and understand how important position is. Are
Oh
you
yeah.
able are you able to give us any names of some celebrities that you I know it's a lot, man, but are you able to give us some names of
But
some celebrities that you've cut?
yeah, absolutely, man. So I'll say Burna Boy, ASAP, Rocky, Rich the Kid,
Wow.
Soldier Boy. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying? Yeah, so yeah, it's a Young Blue. I think
Okay.
he's from Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so just to name a few. Yep.
Do you have any kind of crazy celebrity stories or anything like that? Like any stories you could share with us, like with a celebrity?
Yeah, so this is the thing, right? This is the flip side
Oh, I
to
already know what you're about to say.
yeah. So, the flip side to cutting celebrities that, I heard about it before I got into, cutting celebrities and stuff. And, I didn't really, it didn't really matter to me too much because I said to myself, I want to get my own experience.
Hmm.
When it comes to celebrities, majority of them, excuse me, they don't really respect time. Um, And a lot of the times is just not only because of they're not just respecting time, they have so much stuff going on. So sometimes to us, it may look like they're not really respecting the time, but it's just that sometimes they have so much stuff that, they have
Mm.
going on around them, and it just seems that way. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
But yeah, that's one of the big downfalls to, cutting celebrities.
See, now
Like
I thought you was gonna say something like an NDA, like they make you sign NDAs and you can't really talk about who you cut or
right,
what you do or what's going
right.
on when you're there. Do you have you ever had to sign like an NDA or anything like that?
So I've been, I would say, um, blessed to not ever have to sign one. On which, my wife and myself, we talk about that all the time.
Uh-huh.
Certain celebrities that I cut, she'll be like, yo, it's amazing how they never ask you to sign. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, and I would be around other people that would get hired, right? Like, the makeup artists and what I'm saying, just different people. And I would be right there and they would actually be passing out those, what I'm saying, forms so they could fill out. And they just never, so for, I guess it's just you know, personality and the way you probably carry yourself,
Hmm.
they just trust me in that way to not make me, but I've never signed
So now
one.
I saw on one of your Instagram posts that you had posted you were at Christian Combs and Puff Daddy house and they had some type of party going on. How was that experience?
It was good. It was good. It was a good experience. It was
Yeah, it like it was lit, man. I seen
yeah.
Christian in the car,
Yep,
everybody filming. You was over there in
yep,
the
yep.
area. You had the ring light and you was cutting and it
Mhm.
seemed like it was a good time.
No, absolutely. It was a good time. It was Christian's birthday and
Oh, okay.
to cut, few of his friends and stuff. And yeah, it was a
Okay.
good time. It was a good time. Everything went smooth. You know what I'm saying? Everything went good. Yeah, it was a good time.
Okay, good, man. So you said you've been cutting for about 25 years now.
Well, yep.
Um, Now I know we all as barbers have our introduction into the barber industry. For me, I was about 10 years old and I started playing with my dad's clippers in the bathroom when I started cutting on my own hair, and that's how I kind of, start messing with the trade. For you, how did you end up getting into the barber industry?
So again, I started off back home in the islands. When I first learned how to cut, I started off with just using the straight razor and a comb. That's how I started doing fades and stuff. Cause
Talking about
back
around the whole head,
yeah, around the whole head, just a straight
just
razor
a
and
straight razor. Oh
yeah, straight
wow.
razor and a comb. Yeah, that's how cause during that time I was probably about like 13, 14, and I started cutting just the my friends in the neighborhood and family members and stuff. And it was just, something for fun. Like it was just, I never thought that I would ever, become a barber. Like I was just doing it for the fun of it. But yeah, that's how I started off, just
Okay.
play. And not only that, I come from a background of my uncles, my mom was a beautician.
Mm.
I had uncles. Up to this day, I have like two uncles of mine that's still doing barbering and stuff. But I just never really thought that it would have been something that I would have become a barber. Like it was just fun for me. Yeah, so that's how I started off, just
So
cutting
now,
friends and family.
in
Mhm,
St. Lucia, so
mhm.
you were about 13, 14 years old. Now in St. Lucia, do you have to go to any type of formal school or education
No,
to
we don't
become a
have.
barber?
Nope. You could just become a barber, just, go to a shop and that's it. We don't have any schools or anything set up, in the islands for that yet.
So, okay. So how was that process navigating from St. Lucia over into New York for you?
As far as like just barbering or just
Just like with barbering, like did you have to like were you able to go? I know every state is different. Were you able to go straight into barbering in New York once you arrived in New York?
yeah, so when I started off in New York, the shop that I worked in, just like most barbershops, they allow you to cut for a while and
Mm-hmm.
then, had to eventually go to school to get my license and stuff. So that's how that worked out. But when I first came up, I didn't have any, license or anything. I was working in the shop without a license, and yeah.
So did,
Um,
did did the cutting hair come to you fairly easy, or did what kind of challenges did you have, becoming a barber?
right. So good question. So, like I told you, when I first started off, back home, I was using a straight razor and comb.
Boy, that's
But
straight razor. I
I
can't
had
believe you was just using a straight razor. That's kind of wild. I see
yeah,
videos like that on TikTok, and I'm like, that can't be real. But they sit there with a knife or sharp blade and really be doing the whole fade with just the blade.
just with the blade. So for me, I had a good concept of what a fade should look like, but
Mm-hmm.
when I came up here, I had to start using the clippers. So that was a
Mm.
little, challenging for me at first, and that's one of the reasons to when it came to doing the fades and stuff, I was a little slow with it because I had to kind of learn how to use the clippers to do fades.
That's crazy because I know a lot of people here, it would be the reverse. It would be like,
Right.
I'm good with the clipper, but trying to do a fade with just a razor and a comb,
Yeah, that's yeah, that's
that's
next
next
level.
that's next level, man. That's crazy.
Yeah. Even up to this day, I still use the straight razor without the holder because it's just, it's just more comfortable for me, and I have more control just using
Mm,
the straight razor. So I don't use like if I'm doing, after you do the lineup and stuff, you go with the razor and majority of barbers, which is really the professional way to do it.
right,
You
right,
put
right.
razor in the hole and stuff like that. But I don't use holders. I
You
just
just
go
you
with
just use the blade.
yeah, with the straight blade. And for me, to be honest, majority of my clients, they actually like it that way. The fact that, I'm saying, it's amusing to them. Even, other barbers, when they see me use, what I'm saying, they'll always just
Right.
go around sometimes and just look like, yo, how are you able to just use, that's like, so, what I'm saying? So, yeah, so, yeah, that's one of the things that I still do.
Okay, so I read that 90% of your clients you
Mhm.
are cutting in 30 minutes or less.
Yes.
And because of this, you find that it's hard to create content, to create
Mhm.
and put out content on social media. Can you explain that a little bit more?
So for me, right, when you gotta do, content and stuff, there's a process. You got to set up your cameras sometimes. You got to.
Mm,
For me, a lot of times when I'm doing my content, I would do like I rather doing like short clips versus just doing like the whole video. So
mm-hmm.
I rather doing like, a clip, stop, a clip, a stop, just to save, more space and stuff like, and right, it's easier for me to edit that way. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Okay.
Once with me having clients sometimes back to back to back, it's kind of, challenging to, set up and have, my camera and everything. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'll do it sometimes, it's a little right. It may sound like an excuse, but for me, I know what it's like because of the way that I like to do my videos and stuff. So that's just what it is.
So now with cutting hair in 30 minutes or less, do you get to develop like a conversation with the clients? Or I know for me, when I'm talking and I'm cutting the client, it's like making the haircut take a lot more longer than it normally would. So do you get to talk to your clients at all, like or anything like that when you cutting your clients?
Absolutely.
Oh,
Absolutely. That's one thing that I hear, like a question that comes up a lot with
mm-hmm.
barbers thinking that, if you give in shorter haircuts and stuff, is like, what time do you have to really, build conversations with your clients and stuff. And I have great conversations with all my clients. Now, the other thing to it is, it's not every time clients really want to talk. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right,
There
right, right.
a lot of times, especially if it's clients that actually been cutting for a while, sometimes they want to just be on their phone and just do what they do. And it's sometimes it's just like basic conversations of how
Mm-hmm.
you doing, and and they keep it short, you know what I'm saying? But you have certain clients that they like having conversations and stuff, and you just rock out with whatever it is. But for the most part, like, I don't have any problems or issues as far as like cutting, in a shorter time frame as far as having conversations with my clients. No.
I remember one time I was cutting a client, and I don't do it now, but I used to take appointment every 30 minutes.
Mm,
And with me, like I said, I don't really cut fast. I tend to cut kind of slower.
right.
And because of that, I wasn't doing a lot of talking with my
Yeah.
clients. And I actually had a client, he got, good haircut, was coming to me for a while. And then all of a sudden, he stopped coming to me. And I found out the reason is because I didn't give him good conversation. And I was
Mm.
just like, what? Like that's
Yeah,
that's that's
that's
kind
what.
of weird, man. Like
Mm-hmm.
like I didn't realize conversation was that important to some people.
Yeah, I guess it is, to some people and stuff. And like I say, you're gonna have the clients that, um big on conversations, and you just gotta know,
Feel the
which are,
vibe.
and just kind of, go along with that, you know what I'm saying? But for the most part, like, you could also, as a barber as well, you could sometimes kind of somewhat, train your clients in the way
Mm,
of um I would say like, letting them understand that you could, somewhat put out probably better work not talking too much. You know what I'm saying? Because, you
like man, be
contribute a little
quiet,
bit.
man. I'm trying to get your cut together,
You
man.
know, because when they start talking and stuff, a lot of times, sometimes they move in and they're not even aware that
That's
they move
good.
much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's
So,
real good.
so yeah.
Just
Um,
I guess communication. Like man, I should have told you, like man, I give you a better cut when I don't talk to you, man. So now, have you ever messed up anybody's haircut?
man, that's something that I could say. Well, I don't like. I have not gotten that in so long, bro. I have in the very,
All
big.
right, so tell me what happened when you messed up a haircut.
Okay, so remember, when I first started off in New York, there was this Jamaican dude that came in, and it was my first time. Well, it was his first time actually coming to the shop, and it was
Mm-hmm.
a time when blowouts was a big thing. Everybody was growing
Talking
out
about
their
the afro.
yeah. I'm
Okay,
saying, having like
the
just
taper.
sides and taper in the back.
Right,
So
right, right.
is there just to get that style. And I ended up cutting him, and he explained to me what it is that he wanted. But at the time, I thought I knew what he wanted. You know what I'm saying? And I went up too high with the fade, and
Gave him the
immediately,
mushroom.
yeah, man, immediately he was just like, "Yo, I want to block, yo, why you?" And the strong Jamaican accent, and everyone in the shop was like, "Yo," you know what I'm saying? And it was a busy day too. My times, that was actually one of my first, incident, I would say, as a barber, that had me in the space of like, yo, I don't think this is gonna work out. You know what I mean? Man, it was just so tough because he was going off, bro. Almost to the point where I'm like, yo, this
He's
dude
trying
is
to fight.
gonna fight. Like, I gotta, you know what I'm saying? Because he was just like, yo, I've been growing my hair for so long. Yo, this is not for my youth. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then one of the barbers, came and was like, yo, it's all good. Don't worry about it, man. You know what I'm saying? We could still, finesse it and fix it up. He said, man, can't fix my own. I was like, yo, don't worry, you know what I'm saying? So during that time it was really
You got me
I
crying, man.
felt comfortable because just that one barber that was way more experienced than me was able to jump in
Uh-huh.
and somewhat diffuse the whole situation, and you know
Hey,
what I'm
that's
saying.
good. You had the mother barbers in there, man.
Yeah, man, but it was rough, man. I could
Could have
remember.
been all bad.
Yeah, I'm like, man, I don't think this is gonna work out, bro. You know what I'm saying? Have you ever had? What was your experience?
Oh man. Oh man. I remember I'm fresh out of barber school, man. And I could cut. I wasn't bad. I just, I was still getting better. And so, my shop owner,
Mhm.
it was me and him in the barber shop, and he went on vacation one week. And so, his clients would watch me cut sometimes, so they felt comfortable. Like when he would leave, like if they needed a cut, they would come and sit in my chair. And so
Mm.
one of his clients came and sat in my chair, and I cut his hair. He asked for the taper with the dark Caesar on the top. And coming out of barber school, we can get two types of cut. You can give a conservative haircut, be where you're conservative on the hairline, and
Mm.
then you can be a little bit more aggressive, to make
Right.
that real sharp. And so coming out of barber college, the number one thing we scared of is pushing people's hairline back.
Yep.
So I was real conservative on his hairline, and
Mm-hmm.
I tapered him up in the back and took him down, and when he got done with the cut, he looked at the cut, and he just looked at me, and he looked at the cut, and he looked at me, and he almost like threw the 20 at me, man. And then I was just like what's wrong? Like what? I wonder what's wrong. And so,
Yeah.
and then the owner, he came back, and
Mm.
he like, man, he like, you cut my client? I was like, yeah. He like, man, he was ready to fight you. I'm like, what happened? He like, man, he had to go to another barber and get a cut because it basically looked like he didn't get a haircut because I was too conservative on the
Mm.
hairline. It looked like he didn't get no edge up or haircut or anything. So I was
Wow.
just like, oh man. And
Mm.
so, next time he came back into, I was hoping I didn't want to be in the shop when he came
Oh,
back to.
really?
I just didn't
That's
want to
how
look
it
at him
feels.
again.
Like you don't even want to face the person anymore. It's like, man.
Yeah, I was like, man, that's crazy, man. So did you ever did I know that guy that you just talked about, he probably didn't pay, but have you ever had anybody else not wanting to pay or skip out on you on the haircut or anything like that?
Man, in when I was in Brooklyn again,
Uh-huh.
in New York, I remember one time I cut this one young kid or whatever, and he was like, after the cut and stuff. When he walked in, like, sometimes, like we could read people's energy and stuff, right?
Mm,
The moment he walked in, I already kind of got, a kind of vibe from him, like, you know what I'm saying? But I cut him anyway. And
mm-hmm.
after the cut, he was like, yo, you got change for 100? I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. He was like, yeah, yeah. I was like, yeah, I got change, you know what I'm saying? So he was like, wait, hold up. Right, let me just go into the store real quick to get something or whatever. I already knew, you know what I'm saying, what time it was and stuff like that. And I was just like, all right, cool, because the store is right across the street. So he runs across the street, I walk out and I'm looking at him or whatever. He goes into
Mm-hmm.
the store, and he stays there for a while or whatever, and then he walks out like really fast. I'm like, all right,
Wow.
saying,
Wow.
And
Yeah,
that's just, yeah.
man. I had somebody get me, man. This guy, he had been coming to me for a while. You know, Atlanta. I don't know if you know about Atlanta, man, but it's some
Mhm.
scammers. It's some scammers here
Oh
in
yeah.
Atlanta, man. And
Mm.
so I was cutting a guy, for about 6 months. And, during the last 2 or 3 months or so, he would come in, he would get all the works, all the services, the shampoos, the facials and everything like that. And
Mm-hmm.
then, one day I get a call from a lady saying, "Hey, you've been charging my card, and I've never been to your business." And basically the guy, he had been using somebody else's credit card. And so I
Oh,
had all those services got charged back to me, and I had to, take
yeah.
like a $400 or $500 loss on that. So
Mm,
yeah,
mm.
man, you gotta be careful out here. You ever got any bad online reviews or anything like that?
No, not to my knowledge, like,
Okay.
um, no, I
Okay.
never had
Cool.
any bad reviews. I mean, y- you know, when it comes to like bad reviews and stuff, it's like, it's something that could, happen even to the best of us. You know what I'm
Right, right,
saying?
right, 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 right.
I've seen, so many times, and any experienced barber know, certain times, you give a client a cut or whatever, and it's just not what, they really want. Like they have one way of thinking and they're expecting, you know what I'm saying? And we put out what we think is best, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes that's just not what they wanted, and so it's
Mm-hmm.
something that could happen. Um, but yeah, I've been fortunate to not have any bad reviews online. What about you? Have you had?
Not that I could think of. I know that when um, I owned the shop, I had a online Google presence for the entire shop. And
Mhm.
sometimes, and that was one thing that I didn't like. As a barbershop, you would have online Google presence for the entire shop where all the barbers can receive reviews for
Right.
that one, location. And if a barber wasn't providing good service or good work, then
Mhm.
that review would come on to the shop's profile.
Yeah.
So on one end, it was like, dang, I gotta deal with that bad review. But on the other end, it also let me know if I needed to work with a barber and say, hey, we need to get you on track with your service, your customer service, or if you didn't show up for an appointment on time. That I think that was one of the things that I remember the most is where a customer booked an appointment and a barber wasn't there for the appointment on time.
Mm.
And so that would come on to our shops, our
Mm.
shops um, Google presence. So
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, those type of, reviews and stuff, it's always not a good thing, because now it's affecting, the whole shop.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, But, it is what it is.
Yeah. We will have shop meetings and things like that. And that would be a good segue into, us talking about, the importance of being on time for your cuts
Yeah,
and, giving good work because it's affecting everybody in the barbershop.
yeah. No, absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
now, I actually promote and teach barbers to have their own Google business profile. Because when you have your own Google business profile, if you leave that shop or if you move to another place, that profile stays with you.
With you, yeah. Which is
Hmm.
the best way, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned that you wanted to create a program to teach other barbers how to reduce time on their haircuts without sacrificing the quality. What inspired you to want to teach that to other barbers? I know that you said that that's one of your strengths. You know, doing the work of that and having that become your gift is one thing, but then saying, "Hey, I want to be able to give this strength to another barber." And what was kind of your inspiration behind that?
Well, for me, cutting for 25 years, being able, excuse me, being able to have the ability to cut faster than average, the average barber and stuff. Let me put it this way. When it comes to barbering and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
The art of barbering is really a hustle. It's not a business.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we should definitely treat barbering as a business. But us as a barber, if you don't own a barber shop, what we actually doing is trading our time for money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you really want to, I'd say get to your full potential as a barber, you should want to be able to cut faster in the sense of, being able to get clients in and out, but not rush, because there's a big difference between um, cutting fast
Mm-hmm.
and using the faster method. You know what I'm saying? And this is the thing
Mm-hmm.
a lot of barbers don't understand. You know what I'm saying?
Mm, that was
If
good.
you're using the traditional way of cutting using guidelines, and you got to bring down your time, you got to physically move faster. This is going to make your clients feel like you rushing them through the cut,
Mm,
something you don't ever want to do. You know what I'm saying?
that's a gem right there.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Now, certain barbers and stuff that, have the experience and stuff, and the clients already know, what time it is with them, it's cool. But, if you get in like new clients that's kind of used to getting, the haircut in a certain, time frame, and here you come, rushing them through the cut, it's not a good, it's never a good thing, for you as a barber. Now, using the method that I talk about that, I'll say, which is reverse fading, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Not you trying to cut faster in the sense of you got to move faster. No, everything is just, it's a more advanced way of cutting because you're not using guidelines, which is one of the main reasons why, you know, like I said, like, barbers are not able to cut their time down.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that could be, really taught if, what I'm saying, if the barber is using that method, if they're using guidelines, it's almost impossible for a barber that knows how to cut fast,
Mm-hmm.
uh, right, and they're using guidelines. The only reason why they know how to do it is because they have the experience. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right, right,
But
right.
the method that, I talk about, which is reverse fitting, which some barbers would say fade down, but that's without guidelines, because some barbers still fade down and they still put the guideline. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Which
Mm-hmm.
there's no need for it. You know what I'm saying? But
Mm-hmm.
once I started cutting that way and noticed how much I was able to retain even more clients by, clients just actually appreciating, getting the haircuts done, in 30 minutes or less, right? Because now you're giving back the client time, you know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
time is important for, for everybody, you know what I'm saying? Now, don't
Right.
get me wrong, there's probably certain clients that actually enjoy wanting to be in the chair for an hour and change, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But majority of clients that, throughout my years of experience, they would rather get a really good haircut in a shorter time frame versus being in the shop, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Hour and change.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right, yeah, especially like right now during COVID, where a lot of barbershops now, used to do a lot of walk-ins. After COVID, majority of barbershops had to go to appointment based, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the barber setting is not right, is no longer like a hangout spot for majority of barbershops like it used to be before. Before,
Right.
you want to come hang out and talk shit all day, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
It's
Right.
that way, you know what I'm saying? So people, rather be in and out. You know what I'm saying? And we living in a digital space now where if you notice any company right now that's winning, why is they winning? You know what I'm saying? It's because they're being more efficient. You know what I'm saying? They're able to give you whatever it is that you want in a faster, more efficient time. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Look
Mm-hmm.
at from like companies like Airbnb, Netflix, everything, every company right now that's winning, the main reason why they're winning is because they're more efficient. They're able to
Absolutely.
go out, and it's no different with barbering. You know what I'm saying? The younger barbers or even some older barbers that don't understand the concept, right? And even when they see me, right, there's this one video that I put up where, I cut three clients within, an hour, right? This is not something that I do all the time, but I put that video up to just show, barbers what's possible. You know what I'm saying? You could really get clean cuts, you know what I'm saying? Um, being efficient where the client does not feel rushed. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It might look like, the cut is faster, but that doesn't necessarily mean you rush the cut. You just be
Wow.
efficient by using, a different method, when it
S-
comes to doing fades.
So
And
that you're not actually working faster, you're just your method is
your
faster, but you're
method
not you're
is
not
fast.
moving faster.
You're not moving faster. No, it's just the method that you use. You just, it's just more efficient, you know. And up to this day, I find it very very strange for me as a barber that, the method that I talk about, there's almost no one on YouTube. You can't even really Google this. You can't see, there's no one talking about it. And it's still mind blowing to me that, all over the world, majority of all barbers cut the same exact way, which is using guidelines. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
interesting. Yeah, like programming.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's like everywhere, China, Africa, don't matter where it is, they all cut the same, exact way. Yes, there's barbers that, might switch it up a little bit, some cut down and start up some stuff, you know what I'm saying? But they
Mm-hmm.
all still put in those guidelines. And I'm like, bro, there is no reason for guidelines.
Right,
There's
right,
the
right.
only reason for the guidelines is to help you understand where your fade starts and where it ends. That's it. We already know that. We already know where our fade starts and where it ends. You know what I'm saying? Just imagine, and what's so interesting about this,
Mm-hmm.
when you as a barber that's been cutting for a while, if you really start learning this method of cutting, you now start looking at other barbers like, wow, you know what I'm saying? And even yourself, like, yo, I've been wasting a lot of time using guidelines in my fades. Like,
Right.
this is really not, and it starts looking to you as the barber, because now you're looking at fading from a different perspective now. So
Mm-hmm.
now you actually look at other barbers and even yourself, like in the past, like it does not even look professional. It's almost like, put it this way, you know what I'm saying? Just imagine, going and you go on the beach, right? And
Mm-hmm.
you have on floaties. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is swimming, but you're the only one with floaties, because you know what I'm saying?
Mm.
It just looks strange to you. And that's the
Right, right, right.
like, you start looking at it, cutting through that lens now, you know what I'm saying? Because everyone is doing, following the same steps that, that there's another way that's more efficient, and even, sometimes even putting out cleaner fades. Because the thing is, with a fade, right? Sometimes fades don't come out as blurry because of guidelines. Because when you put in that first guideline, right, you got to put in another guideline, and you know what I'm saying? And just
Mm-hmm.
that whole transition, if you just gradually blend and you're not ever using guidelines, it cuts the time so much more,
Wow.
gives you more time to even detail your cuts now and stuff, man. It's amazing. It's amazing, bro.
Yeah,
It's a
that's dope.
changer. And yeah, and when I came out to California, I taught a few guys, you know what I'm saying, how to cut that way, and it changed their life. And it was just like, you know what I'm saying? So at that moment, I'm like, okay, I really got to put this out there, because,
Mm-hmm.
they, couldn't stop talking about how much, just cutting in that way have just changed their whole perspective on just, cutting, you know what I'm saying? Just took them to a whole different level where they're able to just, make more money and retain more clients and confidence, bro.
I like that.
It's, man, just being able to cut that way. If you think you as a barber being, even if you have the experience, when you start using the reverse fading,
Mm-hmm.
it gives you a level of confidence you didn't have before, because now it makes you feel like you really understand fading from a whole different, you know what I'm saying,
Mm-hmm.
that you never saw it before. You know what I'm saying?
Man, you got me ready over here to start fading
Bro,
down. They
I'm
looking
telling you,
at like I'm like, man, guidelines is for beginners.
bro, it is 100%, you know what I'm saying? And I go down strong with with saying that, and certain barbers, it's gonna make them feel uncomfortable when I say, that's really the beginning stages of cutting when you use
Mm-hmm.
guidelines, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Some barbers
But
might get,
it's
but
transformative what you saying.
it is 100%. And I'm telling you, once you started, the only way you're gonna really know is when you do it. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, everything else. Like I say, if you always riding a bike and you always using trainers, you would never know what levels you could get to, after removing those training wheels. That's when you realize you could ride faster. You realize, what I'm saying, riding is actually more fun because, you could do certain stunts you couldn't have done with those trainers on, what I'm saying?
Mm,
With swimming, what I'm saying? When you have one of those floaties and you can't dive into the ocean, you can't do certain things, the floaties becomes more of a hindrance than a help.
hindrance. Yeah.
Thing
Yeah.
that was actually helping you, now it becomes a hindrance because it was only there to help you, what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying, get to that level. Now you got to remove it because you already know, what I'm saying, you're already at,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that's just what it is, what I'm saying? So
So how long would it take for a barber to learn your method to, from start to finish to where they actually become proficient in your method that you're talking about?
yeah, that's a good question. So it varies, what I'm saying? It varies based on some people get it a little, faster than others. I've had a barber that got it like pretty much once you already understand the concept of fading, it shouldn't take you too long because it's no big different from what it is that we already doing, what I'm saying, as far as like fading. So
Mm-hmm.
once you understand that, it's just pretty much just reversing that process that you already know. So it could take you a couple of weeks, what I'm saying?
Okay.
Right,
Okay.
it's not anything that's so you know that difficult, but there is certain little things that you would need to kind of learn while you're doing the process to kind of help you, what I'm saying, go
Mm-hmm.
through it a little faster and stuff by actually, especially when you actually see it being done, what I'm saying, you're like, oh, okay, I got this, what I'm saying. One of the biggest, I would say, struggles that barbers would have in
Mm-hmm.
their mind, they think that they're gonna get lost in the fade.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
remember,
Yeah.
you going off of guidelines, right?
Right.
And how you gonna start your fade, and when you start fading in that process where you don't have anything to really go by. You know what I'm saying? You're not going by any guideline. You only going really by mostly experience of knowing, okay,
Like eyeballing it.
start fading that way, it looks like, what I'm saying, nothing is really happening. You know what I'm saying? And until you get to the ending of the fade, that's when it starts popping and be like, oh wow, okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, a lot of barbers think that they're gonna get lost in the process, but it's just all mental. You know what I'm saying? You already know how your fade is supposed to look, how much hair, kind of, we already kind of have the eye for it. So, it's something that you could really do in a pretty short time once you understand the concept and you see it actually being done. Yeah.
So you definitely seem like, you have a lot of creativity, and you have good vision, to
Hmm.
be able to create that method and that process. Have you always had like a entrepreneurial type of spirit, an entrepreneurial eye when it comes to, life in general? Do you consider yourself an entrepreneur?
Yes, I've always so for me, when it comes to just whatever it is that I do, I always try to find, the easier, faster way to get my job done. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right, right,
My
right.
mind and right, and it started off from I would say when I was pretty young with my siblings and stuff. We started off like those coloring books that, back in the days that, you'd
Hmm.
have the drawings and stuff like that. I don't really see much of those
Yeah, they
anymore.
not around, but I had a lot of them.
Yeah. So, I would me and my siblings we would race, right? Doing like, to see who could put out the best, you know, like coloring, like whether it's like whatever painting or picture that we are painting, to just see who could do it faster and cleaner without making the crayons or the or whatever it is that we are using to
Uh-huh.
not go out from the
Outside
line.
outside the
Yeah,
lines.
outside
Yeah,
the line.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
we would just, we'd say, okay, we're using five different crayons or whatever. This is the colors that we're using, and let's see who could do it, the fastest and stuff. And that's how, I think I kind of got started off with that. And then it went from that to like video games now. Um, I don't know if you remember Mario Brothers, the
Oh
first one
yeah,
with
yeah,
Nintendo and stuff.
yeah. I'm an
Yeah,
80s baby, man.
yeah, all
Yeah.
right. So you know what it is. So I remember with Mario Brothers, the first one, I'd be racing with my friends and my siblings when it comes to seeing who could put out the fastest time in, just getting to the princess, right?
Hmm.
So, it got to the point where I would be, we'll be playing so fast, we discovered stuff in the game that's like glitches. For
Yeah.
instance,
Yeah.
certain things like, running through the walls, or jumping through the tunnel and skiing on just like one
Right.
leg.
I remember that. I
All those
remember that.
things, yeah,
Yeah.
all those little glitches came from just, playing so fast and just, what I'm saying? Would I would use start off without taking any like mushrooms or anything, and would try to defeat the whole game just being small, no firepower, nothing. Just go through the whole game.
Right.
Just what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
So
Right.
yeah, so my mind has always been, working in that type of manner when it comes to just doing anything. And it just played out for me with, haircuts. I'm like, man, I gotta get there. It must be a way to, be able to cut faster
Mm-hmm.
and you know, make your clients feel like it's being rushed. They have to have a way. You know what I'm saying? And my mind was just always thinking in that, direction. And that's how I was able to, I'd say, bring that out. Yeah.
So do you when it comes to the business side of everything, how do you rate yourself on the business side of the barber industry? Because I know you've talked a lot about the haircutting side. How do you rate yourself on the business side of the business of the barber business?
When you could you be a little more specific when you say on the business side, as far as like could you just be a little more specific?
So like let me see if I can give you an example.
Hmm.
A lot of barbers think that you just have to be able to be a good hair cutter in order to be successful in the barber business.
Hmm.
However, there's other key areas of, being a successful barber, such as
Hmm.
maybe being financially responsible or building a brand for yourself, or customer service, not necessarily dealing with the haircut, but actually offering good customer service, or even does your creativity take you into other areas of business or other types of businesses or anything like that? Do you have any other businesses going on?
No, as of right now, I'm just strictly barbering.
Okay.
Back in the days, I used to always well, when I was in New York, I owned the same shop that I started off in. After a few years or whatever, I was able to own that shop. Um but no longer. um I also had a partner, so now it's fully with him now.
Mm-hmm.
Since I left and stuff, we kind of just split up. But when it comes to excuse me, when it comes to the business side and customer service, yes, that's definitely important. It's not just about giving out good haircuts and stuff. It's definitely a lot to do with personality growth. I'd say as a barber, you definitely have to do some type of self-development. And I think
Okay.
majority of barbers, for some reason, I think, right, I don't know, I think majority of barbers just is just something that comes along with barbering as a profession. I think we tend to want to develop ourselves more, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we deal with a lot of issues and stuff. You know what I'm saying? We got to take on the problems of our clients. We
Mm-hmm.
hear all kinds of stuff, the good
Right,
stories,
right,
the
right,
bad, you know what
right.
I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So you got to definitely put yourself in a position where you're not one to suppress situations or conversations and stuff. That's very important, because if you don't develop yourself as an individual, as a barber, with the amount of stuff that we hear and we got to take in, you're gonna carry that stuff home. You're gonna get into fights with your loved ones, whoever, and you don't even know why. You know what I'm saying? You don't even know that you just suppress some conversation from a client that told you about, a situation or whatever. And
Right.
instead of, just, you know, being mutual or just releasing while it is that they're talking, you taking all that stuff in, and
Taking
now
it in, yeah.
you feeling miserable. You don't even know why you feeling, so yeah, it's definitely important as a barber to develop.
Now,
It's
when you
so.
mention personal development, do you have any mentors that you've kind of looked up to or that have helped you along your personal development journey? Anybody that you would recommend to somebody that might be listening?
Yeah, so for me, I used to read a lot of spiritual books and self-help books, and one of my favorite books I'd say that really got me started off. I started off with like Wayne Dyer and
Hmm.
Tule, The Power of Now. That's a very, very
Power
powerful.
Now. I read that one.
Yep, very, very powerful. He also has another one, The New Earth. That's a very powerful book as well too.
Wow. What's the
Um,
new what if do you
it's
remember
called
what the new earth is about?
so I haven't read it in so long, but it's basically.
It got a good title.
Oh yeah, 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 definitely. Especially with what's happening right now.
Right, 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 right.
One, definitely read up on that. You know, um, what's another one? Uh, so many, bro. Like,
But
so
yeah,
many.
yeah. You do a lot of reading? You got a lot of books?
Yeah, so most of my reading would be audio. Certain times when I'm in the shop and stuff, I just have my headphones on, I just listen to my books and stuff. Yeah, but
Yeah,
I
that's pretty good. We got the audio. We can just,
yeah,
listen to it now instead of
yeah.
having to read it.
Yep. Or if I'm driving to work or whatever, I just, pop it in. Um, yeah, but I'll tell any barber definitely. That's, I think that's very, very important. That's a key,
Personal
uh,
development.
yeah, personal development because, it helps you, people think, just like we were saying, it's not just only about right. You might give a client a better cut than the next barber, but just your vibe, your energy, the
Mm-hmm.
client might not really be vibing with you,
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying, just because of your energy. I'm saying certain things that you say, certain ways that you move, and they just don't want to mess with you. They rather get in a cut that's not as good as what you give them just because of your
Mm-hmm.
attitude or whatever. I'm saying? So, self-development definitely takes you, you know really, really
Absolutely.
well when it comes to, what I'm saying. I've seen, barbers that don't cut that good, but just because of their personality and the way they deal with their clients is like, they're able to retain clients. So, a lot of barbers think it's just all about, just giving out good cuts. And that's like so far from the truth, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
especially a lot of barbers that's now coming into the game, they feel like they gotta always put out like that most perfect haircut. And what I'm saying, I'll tell, a lot of right, a lot of times, those cuts that we see on social media and stuff, most of them is not even, what I'm saying? It's not even really, it just looks like that because, it's so much enhancements and stuff like and
Right.
and barbers, tend to want to just chase that look. And sometimes, a lot of times, the clients don't even know what a really good haircut is. You know what I'm saying? It's all about, it's really like, barbers be cutting to impress barbers, what I'm saying? When they really supposed to be cutting to make your client feel happy. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right, right. So you actually mentioned how do you feel about the enhancements in the new technology on social media with the filters and things like that. How do you feel about that? Being a part of the barber industry now.
So that's a very good question. As far as like with filters and stuff, I'm not really for the filters so much because I think it's misleading.
Uh huh.
With the enhancements, that's understandable because we just living in that, in a time now where everything is just going to that next level and
Yeah.
it does enhance the cuts. Certain clients do have situations where the hairlines are not the best, it's probably receding, whatever, and it
Mm-hmm.
makes them feel better. What I'm saying? It makes them feel better when able to use a little enhancements, whether it's the airbrush or fibers or whatever, and or dyes or whatever it is. What I'm saying? So for that, I've heard barbers try to like boast and be like, oh, I don't use no enhancements and stuff like that. I'm like, bro, if you
Like,
don't use
bruh, like we see the enhancements,
whatever,
man.
man, because what I'm saying?
Right.
The clients are gonna ask for it, what I'm saying? Clients are gonna tell you, like, yo, do you
Yeah.
use, you know what I'm saying? Certain clients, if they don't want it or whatever, it's cool. But for the most part, I find for me being in California, I get it a lot more than when I was in New York. And
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just because of California is big on media and social
Yeah.
everything,
Entertainment.
entertainment. So, everybody wants to look the best. So, yeah. So I'm
What
definitely, I don't have any problems with
Yeah, it took a little minute for me to kind of get used to the enhancement. I was one of those barbers like, man, I don't even need. I just use a razor and make it look good and make it look crispy. But then when you get your clients asking for it, it's
yeah.
almost like you feel bad not being able to offer it and say I don't do that.
Exactly. Just like it's very similar to even being on social media. When I was in New York, I had no so I had my personal page, but it was just for my like traveling. I never had felt a reason to have any social media because I just had so much client. I had no space to take
New
in
clients,
clients. You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? I'll just be booked every day, all day, just booked out. And when I came to California, it kind of forced me in that space of, doing social media, actually putting up um my IG page. And I kind of struggle with that a little because, even when I first started, I'm like, wow, yo, this is work, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't, you know what I'm saying? But you kind
Right,
of have to, if you
putting
want.
something else on the plate.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, and when I did it, if it wasn't for social media, I would never be where I'm at right now. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't for
Okay,
technology and stuff like that. I definitely, because that's how I was able to get my first celebrity barber client was through social media. They got me and they saw my page, they saw the work, and they hit me up in the DM like, are you able to cut, so and so on. I was like, yeah, so it's definitely technology. I would say, yeah.
it's a plus side to it. So the technology, it helps you, get in the position to be able to cut a celebrity client. Have you been hearing a lot about the artificial intelligence technology lately?
Yeah,
Just
I've heard about it, but
nothing specific, just in general.
mhm.
Like,
just in,
yeah,
mhm.
have you been hearing about AI?
Yeah, I've been hearing little things, here and there,
Oh,
with what AI is doing and stuff.
how do you think AI is going to impact the barber industry, or do you know anything about AI or anything like that?
So I haven't dug too deep into AI when it comes to like barbering and stuff. I know for sure the way, technology is going and stuff like that, it's gonna become a time where, I even think it's already out where, they have like robots that, do cuts and stuff like, but I
Man,
don't think it's gonna be, it's not something that's gonna affect us in our lifetime. I don't think, we're
yeah.
gonna be around to see when it, gets to that point where people are leaning more towards, what I'm saying,
Hmm.
AI giving them cuts and stuff. I don't think, that's gonna be in our lifetime.
Now
But
I did. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, as far as like it eventually happening, man, I think AI is gonna then they take over almost everything, bro. Like the way it's moving so fast, like
It's moving
so,
fast.
yeah, it's moving really, really fast. And I think we as barbers are in a very fortunate space to not have to worry about AI taking over what we do. But a lot of jobs, man,
Hmm.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
gonna get crazy, bro. It's gonna get,
Now
yeah.
I did see one AI tool that where you basically take a picture, a selfie, and
Hmm.
then the AI it'll put any type of haircut on your picture so that you can see how you would look. So
Hmm.
like, you got the locks if you want to see what you would look like with a fade, if you want to see what you look like with an afro or pompadour, different stuff like that. You know,
Okay.
that's
Yeah,
how
I like
that's
that.
yeah,
I
that's the
like
latest
that.
that's the latest thing that I've seen with AI.
Yeah, I didn't even know. Yeah, but that's pretty dope. I think
Hmm.
that's anybody would want to see, what they would look like before a particular haircut. Because a lot of times, you'd get clients come in and they'll be like, oh, I kind of want to try something different
Right,
today,
right,
but they're not sure.
right.
So, if you could hit them, okay, this is what you look like, and yeah. So
Right.
definitely, I'm for that for sure.
All right. So we're just gonna do a little segment, man, before we let you go today. We call this segment That's a Bet Podcast Trivia, where we get to learn more about your likes, dislikes, and opinions about certain topics going on right now. And so
Mhm.
I'm just gonna read off a couple of things. This is an either or type of thing, and you just have to select which one that you like.
Mhm.
Um, and then we might get a little story behind it if it's something that you want to share behind why you like it or anything like that. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So we're gonna start off with um Babyliss Pro or Andis Clippers.
Mm, that's a good question. So, Babyless Pro and these Clippers. The thing is, I use both. So I use both. So it's kind of because I use the Babyless Pro to like when I'm doing the balling of the fade.
Uh-huh.
But when it comes to the lineups, I use the end is the cordless, the black ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I really like those because the weight and I think like with the blades and stuff they give me a like a cleaner lineup when I use those, so I use both of them you
Okay.
know yeah.
Okay. Let's go with this one. Kendrick Lamar or Drake? I know you out there in LA.
I'll go with Ken. To be honest, I never really rated Drake as like, to me personally, not taking anything away from Drake. I don't know if it's his voice or whatever it is, but I just don't really get it how Drake actually is where he is. To be honest, in the music, like I just don't rate him like that. Like I don't think, I'm saying, his,
Uh-huh.
a lot of people like him and stuff, and but I don't, yeah, I don't, there's very, there's certain songs of Drake that I really, like I'll bump to and stuff, but I don't think
But you
Drake.
Kendrick Lamar fan.
Yeah, I'd
Okay.
rather Kendrick Lamar for
You
sure.
you you know they got a battle going on right now, right?
Oh, for real? I didn't
Yeah,
even know.
it just
Yeah.
started. Yeah, it just
Oh,
started like last week.
wow. Okay.
Yeah, you gotta pull it up on YouTube or something, man.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that should be interesting. Okay.
All right. What about booth rent or commission?
Before we go to that, what's your opinion with Kendrick Lamar and Drake? What's
I'm with you. I'm Kendrick Lamar.
you got? Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I'm K dot all day, man.
Okay. Cool. What's the other question?
Booth rent or commission?
Very good question.
Uh-huh.
Very good question. So, as a barber, booth rent all day.
Okay.
As an owner, commission all day. What's yours?
Oh man. My marketing has always been on point, so I'm not letting anybody take my money, man. So
Okay.
I'm boofing all day, but
As an owner.
yeah, as a barbershop owner,
Mhm,
sometimes you deal with barbers that don't know how to build their clientele, and
mhm,
they expect the barbershop to build the clientele for them. And so I'm
mhm,
like, man, you need to be on commission, man, because
mhm.
you're not ready to be on booth rent, but they don't want to be on commission. So I'm with you as a barber, booth rent, as a shop owner.
Yeah.
Well, it depends because if I'm a salon suite owner,
Mhm.
then obviously commission doesn't come into play, and I think I would rather choose that business model instead of having a traditional barbershop model.
Right. Yeah. So with my experience coming from, seeing it from both sides, right? Being, um, having a shop and also, being a barber and stuff. When it comes to having your barbers on booth rent, what that does for the owner, like barbers don't like being policed, but like a lot of them kind of have to, like you kind of have to have some type of structure in the shop, and if you don't have that, and once you have dudes on barbers on booth rent, it gives
Mm-hmm.
them a lot of leeway, what I'm saying, to
Right,
do
right, right.
when you have them on commission, you're able to police them more in the sense of, there's more you could there's more rules you could set in place because they're not working really for themselves, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And you're able to set your rules down, like what you're supposed to wear and what you know what I'm saying. But if they paying you rent, then there's only so much you could kind
Right.
of put down. So you know what I'm saying? So, but like I said, as a barber, for me personally, if I'm a barber, that's what I would rather. But as a owner,
Mm-hmm.
I, you know, it would be best for you as the owner to have your barbers on both on commission.
Mission. Yeah.
'Cause now you're able to have your shop run the way you want it fully versus having people, barbers in there freestyling and getting away with a lot of stuff.
They
Yeah.
just if they just gotta get down with the commission structure, some of them don't want to do that because they feel like you're taking too much of their money. But if you're not able to pay booth rent,
Mhm.
then you need to be on
Yeah.
commission until you can build yourself up.
Yep.
Okay. We got a couple more.
So
Android or Apple?
Apple for me all day.
Me too.
Apple. Uh, for me, I look at I don't know, that's such a good question because it's like, uh,
Android. I heard they got those pictures. I heard
mhm.
they got that good picture quality on the Android.
Yeah, yeah, they definitely Android got a lot of good stuff going on, but for me, for some reason, I just like the feel, the look, the layout on the Apple phone. It just looks so much like it just right. It has more of a professional look to me. Like the Androids, the way they look, it just it
Now, do
doesn't
you
give me.
got the Apple 15? You got the iPhone 15 now?
I got the yeah, I
So
do.
they changed the charger.
Actually, I
They changed. I heard they changed the charger up on you
yeah, they
on
did.
us.
Yeah, they did. Yep, they
Yeah,
did.
crazy. The Apple 16, iPhone 16 is gonna sound crazy. Like they need to. I think Apple need to do something different now because iPhone 16 sound kind of weird.
Yeah, right. You say it sounds like what are they talking about it? Like
I mean, it's just
like
how many iterations of iPhone are we gonna go into? Is it gonna be
okay, okay.
iPhone 25, iPhone 25, iPhone 30 one day?
Right, right, right. Man, they've been winning with that, but you're right. They gotta,
Do something different now. All right,
yeah.
we got one more for you. Okay, get a barber's license or deregulate the industry.
Oh man. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Hmm. Let me think about this one a little. Get a barber license or deregulate the barber industry.
I know this one is gonna go.
You see, for me, when I'm gonna start off, by just giving a little thing. When I first started off cutting, bro, it took me a while before I actually got my license. And I was really grateful for the owner to allow me to, cut in his shop for that long without, a license, not
Mm-hmm.
having, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I know what it's like, but it's a very you know, I don't know. That's a really good
Come
question.
on, man. You gotta
Uh,
choose one, man.
uh, to be honest, bro, I'd have to go with deregulate. And
Okay.
the reason why, right, I'm gonna tell you why.
Uh-huh.
I feel like with barbering school right now, honestly, and that's from me doing my research and stuff. Majority of barbers that been to a barbering school, they never really learned anything, you know what I'm saying? It's very rare that I'll run into a barber that told me, yo, I learned so much from barbering school, you know what I'm saying? Majority of us, we get almost everything from the barber shop. There's so much, especially now, um, with the way the test is set up and everything, is like it has very little to do with actual cutting hair, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Which mind blowing to me. You know what I'm saying? You go to barbering school and stuff, and you don't really learn nothing much when it comes to cutting hair.
Right.
Actually, all the
Right.
experience really from being in the barbershop. So, as bad as it may sound, you know what I'm saying? I'll have to go with deregulation
Deregulate.
because of just because of the main fact that I feel like the barbering school is not really doing what they're supposed to do as far as like helping new barbers to really what I'm saying
Right, right, right.
get
I
the yeah.
I can agree with you. I think that there's a shift that needs to take place. And recently, I've been thinking about some type of hybrid model where, because there's two aspects to barber college. There's the sanitation part, and then there's the, the fundamentals on the haircut side of it. And the sanitation part, you can learn all of that online. The theory part, you can set up some type of online school part, some type of online schooling for the theory and sanitation side of it. And that when it comes to the haircut, the practical side of it, you can actually get that out in the field.
Yes.
So, I think some type of shift needs to take place where, maybe we can cut the hours in half,
Yes.
or maybe cut them down 75%.
Yeah.
I'm a licensed barber instructor,
Mhm.
so I've worked in a barber college as a curriculum director and admissions representative and a theory instructor. So, I've seen that side of it.
Right.
But then I also understand the barriers that,
Mhm.
the barber programs create for, more barbers to be able to come into the industry and actually become better barbers.
Right.
So I man, if I had to choose
Hmm.
a fully deregulated industry, I I would say about 80% deregulated.
Right.
If I could deregulate it about 80%, and then, you know,
Yeah.
maybe do that other 20%, because,
Yeah.
anything
No,
that
I'm with you on that because you gotta have some type of I would say what's the word I'm looking for? Some type of structure, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And if it's fully deregulated, like, I don't think it's gonna be too open just for, anyone to just, you know what I'm saying, jump in. So I definitely, I'm with you on that. You know what I'm saying? That's why it was so hard for me to, but you said I have to choose one. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
yeah, I'm not. I mean, I think I would choose what you chose. I think I would choose deregulated. And I'm 80% deregulated. So that's, if I had to choose one, I would say deregulate too.
Right, right. You know what I'm saying? That's why it was so hard for me to really which is a really good question because it's like, I couldn't, but you said I have to choose one. So I was like, okay, if I have to choose this one, but if I could do it in a way where you said, 80/20,
Hmm.
definitely yes. I think that would be the best, cutting down the hours and stuff like that. And just, just making it um, a better like a better program, I'm saying, for barbers to learn. And even with what it is that I'm working on right now,
I was about to
um,
say that.
what I'm saying, it's actually kind of in that direction
I was
to
about
this,
to say that.
yeah, even barbers that's now, that want to now learn how to cut, what I'm saying, is right, it's gonna catapult them to advanced level versus having to wait 3, 5, 10 years to get a certain level of experience that you'd have to go through. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Cutting the way that we cut, as far as like, and I'm referring mostly to, when it comes to fades. Because I
Hmm.
think when it comes to barbering and stuff like that, I think, doing fades is one of the most challenging, aspects of, cutting. Yeah, I think everything else is something that, could kind of be learn, what I'm saying, pretty
Hmm.
easy once you, put in the time, but putting out like really clean, good fades in a timely manner, I think that's like the most challenging.
Hey, maybe they might have something at work. Maybe, all
Yeah.
the technology is gonna make a shift happen.
Yeah.
So, all right, Clint, man, let everybody know, man, how can they reach out to you? If any barbers want to reach out to you, if anybody that's listening, how can they reach out to you and get in contact with you?
Yeah, so you could definitely hit me up on my page, CleantCutz. That's spelled CLEANT, Cuts CUTZ, on IG. Yeah, shoot me a DM and definitely reach out to me. That way. Also, my phone number, I could give out my phone number if they want to call me and, get more information. So that's 347 seven
Hmm.
four 5854. So yeah.
All right, cool, man. All right. Well, that's all the time that we have for today. Make sure you guys catch us on the next episode where we talk about the intersection of barbering, entrepreneurship, and technology. And as always, that's a bet.